Happy New Year! Are you ready to give yourself the gift of growth? Join Kathy today to find out how.
Happy New Year, my friends. It is January 2025. So regardless of when you listen to this audio or video, Happy New Year to you. We can have a new year any single day we want, right? Well, here in 2025, there's a lot happening. So for starters, have you heard about my new book? January 10th is National Quitters Day, and it's also the day that this new book, Winners Are Quitters, is going to be available. I'm very excited to tell you more, but I'll tell you more in a different episode about the book. So really my focus here today is to talk about these just New Year's traditions. What are you doing to welcome in a new year? What did you do to close out the old year? Do you create a New Year's resolution? Do you have some goals? Do you create a vision board? Or do you pick a word of the year? That's exactly what I want to really dive into today. And I want to encourage you to think about what your overall holistic goal is here this year for yourself. That comes into the habit or the practice of picking one word or one hyphenated word that really helps define where your focus is going to be here for this new year. Now, author and speaker Jon Gordon is the one who really made this popular. There's a book available called The One Word. Don't quote me on the title of the book, though. It's something about a word. But he really talks about the whole idea of not going in with a big resolution, not going into the new year with this huge, daunting resolution. Instead, pick one word that's just going to help guide you through the whole year. Now, the reason January 10th is National Quitters Day is because of New Year's resolutions. It takes us about 10 to 12 days before we usually quit on a resolution. And many times we just create those resolutions too big or too dramatic. Like, hey, in the new year, I'm going to work out 5 days a week. And meanwhile, you really haven't worked out any days a week in the previous year, which is just one day ago. So with that in mind, we don't want those dramatic goals. We don't want those crazy resolutions. We want a word that's going to help us to really hone in on truly the growth we want to see. Now, in years past, I've done this practice for about, I think it was 2015 or 2014 when I started it. At least that's when I started documenting it. So here's what some of these words have given me. One year, my word was develop. So what does develop mean? Well, develop means to grow and to get better at something. And what ended up happening that year is I helped develop like 3 leaders on my team. That's when I was a director with Pampered Chef. And we promoted to a whole new level of directorship because we had people on our team who were promoting. So develop that year, it developed me as a leader, but I also helped develop and bring blessings to other people. Now, one year my son Jacob, chose the word explore. And this was the year 2015. I know that because that's when he graduated from high school. He chose the word explore. As a high school graduate, he needs to explore what to do with the rest of his life. Well, that word gave him permission throughout the whole year to do some crazy things like try guacamole or avocados. He's a picky eater. He would never try it. So I was kind of daring the kids, and he's like, well, my word is explore. May as well give it a try. He didn't like it. He never ate it again. That's fine. He tried it. He also took a mission trip to Japan. He had to fly some red-eye flights alone as an 18-year-old, which that's great. That's fine. He's flown before, but still, that's a huge exploration, right? And then to go overseas on a mission trip with nobody he really knew, that was huge in the explore category. And again, his word of the year gave him permission, at least gave himself permission to try some things. Now, for me, last year, my word was focus. Because to be honest, this is why I chose the word. I can get many things going at one time. I'm like the shiny object syndrome girl, or the shiny, carrot. If you dangle a carrot in front of me, I'm going to go after it. And I just really wanted to focus in on one project at a time, not 5. That's how I got my book written. So it was last, I think, March when I started writing my book. And every single morning I would get up at about 5 o'clock and I'd spend the first 45 to 60 minutes writing. I didn't have an end goal. I didn't have a date in mind. I was just writing. And that focus, now I have other ideas of other projects that I wanted to do, but I kept a list in my computer, and I just kept focusing on the book every single morning. And it's published. I mean, this is like huge for me because, wow, it's published. That's because of focus. Because my word last year was focus. And I had to continually remind myself, no, I cannot take on another project because I want to focus. And by focusing, I have convinced myself the value of focus. So the word doesn't die at the end of 2024. It's continuing within me. It's continuing to grow and prove itself, and it's going to be something I continue to follow every single year. So now we're into 2025. Now it's time to choose a new word. Okay, here's a few rules, by the way. Do I have to choose a new word? I'm not done with last year's word. Yeah, you do. You get to choose another word, a new word. And like I said earlier, the words from your past, they're not done and dead. They continue to grow, but now is a time for you to have another opportunity to think differently a little bit, to focus in, to see the definition of words. When I go in a year with a word, I always think it's going to have a certain meaning or it's going to have a certain result. Last year, I chose the word focus because I wanted to get control over my actions. I didn't have the idea of writing a book on January 1st of last year. That didn't come till about March. So the focus word brought on a whole different experience than what I thought it would when I started off the year. And that's the fun of it. Back in 2019, my word was to conquer. Conquer. I even painted a picture of 2 mountaintops. I wanted to conquer some limiting beliefs that I had in myself. I wanted to conquer some projects. And little did I know that in 2019, I also was given the opportunity to conquer my biggest fear. My biggest fear was financial stability. And that was the year that I left corporate America and went out on my own as a speaker, trainer, and coach. I wasn't planning that in January. But wow, what an opportunity. Sometimes I'm glad that I didn't think like that at the beginning of the year because I may not have chosen the word. I may not have chosen that route, that adventure, but life takes us there. And having the word conquer gave me an extra boost of confidence, and it gave me an extra drive to be like, you know what? I'm going to conquer this. I'm going to figure this out. The words are beautiful. They take on a totally different meaning than what you anticipate in the beginning of the year. But right now is a time for you to figure out a word. Okay, here's another rule. You can't just say, hey, this is going to be my word, and boom, you're done. You got to marinate on the word a little bit. You got to kind of throw out a few words and see what sticks. Sometimes I start this process in November. Now, this last year, I started the process end of October. I had a really good word, but a few weeks later, I couldn't remember the word. That's why you sit on the word a little bit. If you can't remember the word, it's not meant to be your word for next year. Okay, so then the next thing is to just, okay, what's the word? What did you marinate on? What do you want to do for your growth and your goals? My word in 2025 is clarity. Clarity. And what I did is I created an image of my word. Now, here's rule number 3. Once you create your word, you must create a visual. all I did is I found some of this black matted paper, and which when you buy it on Amazon, it comes with this little pointed stick, and I just wrote on the paper, and the color starts to come through. So in essence, you're shaving off that black film, and the color is coming through. That's all I did. That's all I did. Nothing really elaborate. I mentioned earlier I painted on the canvas, I painted some mountains for my word in 2019. I used to paint my word, and that was always fun, but then we moved and I purged all those canvases, which is fine because I don't need extra stuff around my house. But here's what happened last year. In 2024, I created my image on my computer. So I created it all digitally. Well, then I work with some clients and we pick a word of the year, and many of them didn't create any visual. And you know what happens when you don't have something visual in front of you every day? You forget your word. You don't focus on your word. You don't put any effort into your word. Now, focus was my word last year, and I did remember it, and I feel really good about how I honed in on it last year. But I forgot about my visual that I did on the computer until about 2 weeks ago when I found it on my computer. Ouch. So the things in my visual weren't really what I was honing in on. The visuals matter. You need it in front of you. Some of my clients, we couldn't even remember their word. Well, thankfully, I did write down their word. I even wrote down why they chose the word, but they didn't. My friends, it's important for you to create something simple. I have one friend who has really good calligraphy handwriting, and she writes her word every year just on a special note card or a special place. It doesn't have to be crazy. It's just simple. Another friend has her kids create an image. They get their markers out and they create something related to her word. Whatever it is, get your visual out there. Get it in a way that you can post it someplace that you see it every day. That's how you're going to really lean into the word this year. That's how you're going to see how this word is helping you grow. Now, you've created the word. You've chosen the word. You've created a visual to show off your word. Now what? Now you just live life and you hope that the word is coming to fruition, and not quite. You need to review your word on a routine basis, like at the end of every month. For me, I do take it a step further, and I create what I call a personal growth plan. That's why I have my computer in front of me, because I don't want to forget anything to share with you. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to look at some of my notes. But last year, for many years, I've created this personal growth plan that really dives into my word, but it also dives into more growth that I want throughout the year. So at the top of my growth plan is my word. I also pick a scripture and a song related to that word. I also go into detail on different categories of me, like financial, physical, emotional, personal. All of these areas I want to hone in on. I keep a list of the books that I read. I keep a list of the conferences that I attend, of the travel that I do, because that's important to me. Because that's part of my growth. That's part of just elaborating on truly what I want to get better at in the next year. Some people create a vision board with images of all of these areas. I like writing it out. At the end of every month, let's just be honest, it's not really every month, but I try every other month. I go back into my personal growth plan and I document how things have been happening. What books have I finished reading? How have I seen my word come out? Maybe I saw it in a book, or I saw it on a billboard, or I saw it in a scripture, or wherever I saw it. When you pick a word, you're going to see that word everywhere. I walked into my husband's office yesterday, and my word is on his whiteboard. By the way, it's been on his whiteboard for about the last 8 months. He hasn't erased his whiteboard in 8 months. But there was my word. I didn't notice that word before. And there's my word. You're going to see it everywhere. Keep track of it. Because whatever happens in January, you're going to forget by December. It is so much fun at the end of the year to go back and review your personal growth plan with all of these like factual notes of what happened throughout the year, and just be reminded of those revelations, of those growth opportunities, of how you truly did grow throughout the year. And then at the end of the year, there's a little more fun to have. This is where you go through and you recap everything, but then you start picking out your highlights. And this is where I love to get my phone out and go through all my pictures that I took throughout the last year. So what I did is I picked my top pictures of the year, which ended up being like about 25, and I narrowed it down to my top 10 photos. I should actually say my top 10 experiences shown through photos. So that's why I have my computer. That's why I'm cheating and I'm going to look at this, because I want to share with you a few of my photos that really brought the year together for me. My top photo is a picture of my book. This encapsulates focus for me. This truly shows me that what I can do when I focus. That's my first picture. My second picture, oh my goodness. In about April, I was working with a leadership team out of Dubuque, Iowa. They were graduates of the NICC Leadership Academy. And it was one of the last sessions together. I was kind of sharing with them my book. Actually, I think I mentioned that I used to fly airplanes. And somebody in class said, "Wait, what? We've been working with Kathy Rotes and we didn't know she flew airplanes?" So then I shared with them a quick 5-minute story about my piloting career. And I also happened to mention that, in the book I'm writing, and they said, whoa, time out again. We've been working with Kathy for the last few weeks and we didn't know she's writing a book. Now I was very early in my book writing sessions, okay? So I'm like, oh shoot, I just said that out loud. I guess I really have to write a book now, right? But my second picture is of this entire group of leaders, because I call you my book journey team. Throughout the whole year, we created a private group. We created an email list. I kept you guys up to date on what I was up to, where I was going. This team helped me pick the cover of my book. I gave them a few options, says, what do you think? And they spoke into me. So if you're listening to this book journey team, if you're one of these leaders, thank you for being interested in what I was writing and giving me confidence that, yes, I'm a speaker, I'm a trainer, I'm a coach, and I'm an author. When I look at the whole year of 2024, it came together when I was finding my top 10 pictures. Last year, my word was focus, but it was really a year of confidence transformation. And it started with the book journey team. They showed confidence in me and got me going in a very excited, focused pace to keep diving into this adventure. So to the book journey team, thank you. Thank you for speaking into me and starting this year of confidence building. Now, I'm not going to go through all 10 pictures. I have a story for each one. The reason I'm sharing all this with you is because I want to give you a video that you can go back and watch throughout the year. Really, what I need you to do right now is to put some time and thought and energy into choosing your word for 2025. It's not too late. Even if it's January 2nd or 3rd, or maybe it's April 17th, I don't know what day you're listening to this. It's not too late. Pick a word for 2025. And then create a visual so that you can hang it up someplace that you see it every day. And then live life focused in on that word. But come back to the word at least once a month. And somehow journal or keep documented what's happening this year with your words. At the end of the year, that's the time to do a huge recap. Catch up on all your notes and find your top 10 pictures of the year and see how it relates to that one word that you chose. Like I said, my 2024 word was focus, and I got some huge accomplishments because of focusing. But wow, when I looked at my top 10 pictures, it was a confidence transformation that happened last year. I didn't plan on that. I didn't plan on that at all. But I'm so thankful I'm thankful for the focus that I put in to get to that point. So for all of you, when you do choose a word and you create your visual, please take a picture and send it to me. I would love to see what everybody's word is and what does your visual look like? How creative and artistic are you? And I look forward to hearing from you throughout the year on how your word is going. Where is the word taking you, especially in ways that you were not expecting? My friends, be great this year. Be great, think differently, choose wisely on that word. We'll see you next time.